Sorry, wow, that was cranky. And yeah, I just woke up. I'm in my pajamas, as you can see, and I'm hungover. And to be honest, I don't know how that happened because yesterday when I went out to the wine bar, I made sure to be nursing the same Jack Daniels and Coke because I knew I had work this morning. But for somehow, I feel tipsy. I'm more of a lightweight than I thought I was, to be honest. I haven't actually had a drink since Christmas, so that's probably the reason. No, New Year's. Anyway, on with the video. And this video is called Why You Can Be You Could Be a Feminist and an MRA at the same time. Now, when I say this to people, people look at me like I'm stupid, you know, people like giving me side eyes and like thinking, how can you be a feminist and an MRA? If you don't know what MRA is, MRA is a men's rights activist. And you might be thinking, men's rights, you know, hasn't men always had rights? You know, and in some ways that's true, but then in other ways it's not. For example, let me just jump right into the deep end here. Alright, EastEnders is covering a storyline which, by the way, as you can see, I'm a huge fan of EastEnders, always have been, always will be. Covering a storyline with, what's her name? She's a new character, but it's basically about, in certain cultures, girls get, when they reach a certain age, they get their genitals mutilated, which is totally wrong and unfair, and it's just, to be honest, it's cruel. It is so cruel. I'm so proud of EastEnders again for covering that storyline. But also, everyone talks about, you know, like protecting girls from this, but then everyone thinks it's totally fine for little boys to get circumcised. And to me, even though, yeah, you know, there is a difference between the two, you know, it's still in some ways mutilation. It's still, you know, like, who's to say he wanted to be circumcised? Like, you see a tiny, tiny little baby and you're gonna do that, like, you don't know if that's gonna hold trauma to that baby. Anyway, so that's one thing. Second thing is, what was I talking? Yeah, when it comes to childcare and when it comes to men getting custody over children. Now, even though yes, you know, children should be with their mothers and everything like that. Well, they're good mothers, should I say. There are some mothers, a load of mothers. Like, I read a lot of these true story books. I don't know if you can see this, but these are all books. I've read a lot of true story books, and a lot of the abuse that these children suffered was from from the hands of their mums. Yeah, dads does abuse their kids as well, but it's more commonly known that women abuse their children more because they're under stress, they're around their children 24/7, and they start taking out their frustrations on the children. It's but yet still, if you're a man, it's going to be harder for you to get custody of your children because, in the eyes of the law, children should be with their mothers because mothers are nurturers. And a lot of mothers are nurturers. Like, I'm so glad I have like the best mum in the world. No offense to any other mum, but still. But there are children who doesn't. And it's just an array that even when it comes to, in some places in even America, where if a mum wants to give their child up for adoption, the dad has no say whatsoever. He might be crying, begging, pleading, but it's the mother's decision. as to whether that child goes into care or not. And I think that is so wrong. Now, if I had a child that I didn't want and it was past the date where I can get an abortion, or I didn't believe in abortion, or whatever the case may be, and I did not want this baby, yet still I know my partner or my ex or one night stand or whoever he was, desperately wanted this baby. I think it will be cruel to give this child up to adoption, knowing that this child will not have any connection with their family or who they are, when you know that there's a family member, the father, who does want to know their child. And I think that's so wrong. If I was in that situation and I didn't want the baby, which to be honest I do want children in the future, absolutely, but it's just hypothetical. I would give the child to the father. I'd be like, okay, like I don't want the baby, but I know you do. I'm not gonna. But there are some women who think that it's best for the child to have a mum and a dad and to, be put up for adoption. Anyway, but there's just an array of different things that you don't really think about, even when it comes to, the whole women's rights movement. Yes, like women needs rights. Like there's so many women, there's girls in different countries being forced to marry and they're not allowed to finish school. They're young, they're 14, they're still children themselves. And yet they're forced to marry someone, and sometimes it's someone twice their age. There's been little girls who's died on their wedding night. And I don't even need to go into details. I know exactly how they died. And it's so horrible. And things like this happen, but yet still, that people doesn't talk about boys who's forced into marriage. There's boys who's 15, 16, they want to continue school, and yeah, often they're encouraged to because they're boys, but at the same time, they don't want to get married. They're not ready to get married, but their family is forcing a wedding that they don't want. Gay men are more likely to get murdered than lesbian women are. Obviously, lesbians are women, but I'm just making it more clear. And it's like, with women, it's like, okay, we can change our, like we can, like women, brutal stuff does happen to lesbians, I'm not gonna lie, and yes, sometimes it does result in murder, but more often than not, gay men will be murdered more than lesbian women, and that is not okay. It's not okay to murder anyone, obviously, but it's you can see the pattern where I'm going. Back in the day when women were sick of being in the kitchen and, cooking, cleaning, looking after the children while their husband is at war. Yes, I understand that it's unfair, but also no one really talks about the men at that time who was forced into war, who was forced to go to war and fight for their country and kill and do all these things and get killed themselves most of the time, and no one really talks about that. It's all like, oh, women, and obviously I'm on the fence because I'm supporting both. I support feminism because we need feminism. Women does have rights, and we need to talk for those people we need to talk for those girls and those women who can't talk for themselves. But we cannot close our eyes to the fact that men need our support as well. Men need support. Now, one person, sorry, I got a hair on my nose or something. Anyway, one person, when I did say that I'm a MRA and a feminist, she was like, but that's a bit like being a black rights activist and a white supremacist. at the same time, and I'm like, well, no. Because white supremacy means you think that white people is better than anyone, you know, and deserves to be treated better than everyone. And then black rights is about being equal to white people. So you see, they're not on the same path. Black rights want black rights is about being us all being equal. Yeah, which obviously I do support that 1000%. As you can see, I'm black, and I definitely support that. But white supremacy means they think that they're, you know, superior. They think that they're above black people, and that doesn't that. So you can't really compare that, where, you know, because it's like they're going in opposite ways, you know. But then when you think of men's rights activism, and you think of the feminist movement, we're fighting for the same thing. Men want to be treated as fairly as women, and women want to be treated as fairly as men. It's a no-brainer. You can be both. It's like that you don't. It doesn't have to be either or either. Like when you see things like domestic violence, speak up for those victims of domestic violence, and then you see a fire next to it saying, speak up for children who's being abused. Nobody thinks, I have to pick one or the other. No, you can support both. You can support both. And you're going in the same direction. Men want to be treated the same as women, where women's lives is more worth more, because we're the child bearers, we're fragile, whatever. And then women want to be treated as equal as men, because we still don't get the same pay rise. Like I can be working the exact same hours as someone that's my age, my same level, same job, same everything, and we're doing the exact same thing, working the exact same shifts, yet still he will be paid more than I will, because of the old-fashioned value of men needs to earn because they're the breadwinners. Yet still, it's more commonly known that women, there's a load more single mums who's working, trying to support their children, than there are married families where the man is the breadwinner and the woman stays at home. You know, because women don't stay at home no more. Like, since when have you seen women don't stay at home, even if they're married with children? No one really stays at home. Like, not for long anyway. And the government will not allow that either. The thing is, we need to realise, men and women, that we're fighting for the same thing, equality. Men want equality. Men want to be recognised that, yeah, the suicides is higher in men, murders higher in men, depression, alcoholism, prison sentences higher with men than with women. You know, we want to get paid the same. We want to be able to wear what we want without, you know, looking like, you know, being judged or treated like we're some kind of meat or whatever. Like when something happens to a woman, yeah, when the woman gets sexually assaulted, a lot of times in court, especially in the cross-examination, you know, they treat her so badly and make her feel so little of herself. Rape is the one thing where the victim is treated as the perpetrator, and that is wrong. But also, on saying that, we need to acknowledge that men get raped too. Men can get raped by a woman or a man. Same with a woman. A woman can get raped by a woman or a man. Same thing. children, boys, girls, can get sexually assaulted and sexually abused by either or either. We need to come together and realise that you don't have to choose one or the other. You can still be a feminist and a men's rights activist. You don't have to choose. Anyway, that's the end of my mini series. Thank you so much for watching, and I need to get ready for work, so I'll probably upload this after work when I get back. But I just want to say, have a lovely weekend. Well, weekend's over. Enjoy your Sunday. Anyway, see you later. Bye.